Oh, it's 10 snips time. Here's my little handy dandy 10 snips. Red handle ones, baby. You gotta get the red handle ones. Don't get the green ones. Don't get the yellow ones. Get the red handle ones. Why the red handle? Well, I can cut straight lines with this. I can cut curves with this. And I say of the red handle ones, you've got the tip kind of going up at an angle, so you can cut curves with this one way easier than a yellow handles. Yellow handles are designed to cut straight lines. And then green ones, I'm not even sure what the green ones do, but I have seen green ones. I think you can cut upside down on those. But hey, red handle ones, I can do anything with these that anyone can do with the green ones or the yellow ones. And 3-in-1 is the red. Okay, I'm using my red handle 10 snips. Look how rusty these are. These are pretty old. I don't know, 9, 10 years old, but they're still cutting. All right, so now, see, I got plenty of room in here to start cutting. So I'm just gonna cut a little bit. And see, I can get a line going, and I can pull that back and get another one. I'm not on my line yet. I'm just trying to cut a little bit of this to give me a good starting point, okay? Now I can cut some of this excess out of there. Going from the top down, and I'm just getting some of this material out of my way. Use your gloves, make sure. You just have to cut these in a way to get the material out. You'll get good at using these red ones. Just get a pair and you'll see. Okay, now I can start cutting my line, right? See how much room I got in here now? Another thing, it's way easier to do it this way than to get a jigsaw out. And you're going to make all kinds of noise with that, and you're going to make a mess with that, especially with a skill saw and a metal cutting blade. That dust is going everywhere. So this is nice and clean. Plus, you don't have to buy a skill saw. And if you had a skill saw, maybe you don't have a metal cutting blade. And if you had a jigsaw, maybe you don't have a metal cutting jigsaw blade. To get the jigsaw blade in there, you're still going to have to drill the holes out with the drill bit, kind of like I showed you. Now you got to cut that whole thing out with a jigsaw and have it chattering all over the place, because this is not very thick. This is going to chatter, and it's going to start binding on your jigsaw, and you're probably going to either break the blade off or do something, okay? So that's why I like using my 10 snips and doing it this way. Now that I got my hole started, I can just get in there and move it over to my line, and then I'm curling it up, see, as I go to get to my line. Once I'm at my line, I can curl this straight up, okay? I don't want to cut all the way every time. I want to go up a half a cut, 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 like that. Okay, now I can get all the way up there, and I can cut some more excess out of here. That way I don't have that binding up on my blade. Okay? Resituate my little stool, come all the way up in there, and now, see, I go beyond it, and now I can take that and I can twist the whole thing right into place. Look at that. Now I can cut that nice straight line. I can bend this up out of my way a little bit. Careful, because you don't want to cut yourself on that. Even with gloves on, don't kid yourself. Okay? Now, I'm going to go halfway in there like that. And this one's going to be kind of tricky. I can swivel that up and back down. Now I'm cutting backwards and upside down at the same time. Now I can just keep pulling this out of my way, or I could cut some of that off, but you know, I'm still going pretty good. If it started binding on you, then you could cut some of that off, but it's not. Okay, there. I'm down to there. Ooh, now what am I going to do? Same thing. Hopefully you can see this. Halfway, swivel it. Now I'm on the straight line. Straight line all the way across. Okay, I'm going to cut this off. Okay, now just going to line that up, keep cutting across there. Got it at the end. I'm going to put my blade about 1/4 inch beyond it, or 5/16 or so, and have it kind of tight. Now swivel it up. And you're right on your tip. And there you go. Look at that. Am I done with that hole? Not yet. I guess I was wrong. There is one more. There are a couple more tools I use for this. See how wavy this is and stuff? Now I can take my pliers and I can just kind of straighten this back down and kind of line this up, because this back's not that thick, but it's still going to look pretty good when I get done. Granted, it's going to be in the back here, so nobody's really going to see this, but I still want to try to get this as best as I can. I could put this in the hole like that and bend back down. Just want to be careful when you do that, because you don't want to cut yourself on the sharp edges. Okay? See right there, it could be bent in a little bit, so I can do that. And this end right here could be bent down just a hair. Okay? That looks pretty good. What do you think? Now I've got just a little wood rasp, and it's got a metal rasp end on 2 sides. So I'm going to take that and just file the edges of this off, because I don't want anyone reaching in there and cutting themselves on here. Okay? I'm just going to kind of run it along. Just to get the burrs off, you know? I'm going to work on that a little bit more, on the inside a little bit and on the outside, but that's pretty much it. And that, my friend, is how to cut a metal back out using a drill bit and some tin snips. Oh yeah. One thing I want to point out here, a couple things. When you cut these out, don't make them so tight that your cover plate's just barely going to fit, because if you're slightly off and you get all done, you slide the cabinet into place, you may think, oh shoot, I have to shave this off a 1/16 of an inch, an 1/8 of an inch, whatever. I always do it over a little bit, because you don't have to line it up perfect in here. I just wanted it so that the cover plate was exposed all the way through there, and it wasn't anywhere close to the outside edge of any of these metal edges, okay? Now, if you've got two plugs that you have to cut out, you could cut this real big, but I really didn't want to do that because this metal is still pretty stout. And this section right here is kind of holding the integrity of this panel, because see, there's two panels on the back of here. Here's a seam here, there's one panel here, and then there's a panel from here that goes that way another 1.5 feet. Okay, so this section right here is only yay wide. You know what I mean? So this section is going to help this whole thing. If I get too big of a hole here, the whole back of the cabinet could start moving around. And that's why I decided to make two holes. Plus, I wanted to show you guys, I wanted to show you in particular how to cut this hole out. Okay? So, a couple options you got when cutting the back side of a metal storage cabinet. Hey, I didn't mean to say you guys because I was really talking to you. All right, because that's the person I'm worrying about. Here's the inside of the cabinet. You see what I mean about measuring right? Because I knew that the Blu-ray disc player was going to be up on top of this shelf. Now, had I not measured that first, maybe my plugs would have been right here, might have been down below, and then I would have had to knock a hole in the top of here, and that kind of stuff. So make sure you do a little measuring, open up your cabinet, check it out, and get your plugs where you want. Now granted, I could have raised the back up a little bit higher, and either way, this is okay because where the player is going to be, there's going to be plenty of room that it can be moved around back and forth, so it's not really going to hit the plugs. Especially, you know, a plug end or something, because you just got the extension cord plugged into there. You know, we'll be fine. So do your measuring properly, measure it twice, and cut once. Now the reason why these plugs are going to be up high enough is because I measured the Blu-ray player and it's only 2 1/4 inches tall. It's not one of those fat, thick ones, all right? It's only 2 1/4 inches tall. And so where the bottom plug's going to be is going to be way higher than 2 1/4 inches. So my plugs are fine, even though it might look like it's low. So if you have your disc player or your VCR player, whatever you've got, make sure you measure that and kind of do some strategic locations. Maybe you want your disc player off to the left, but you want something else over here. So then you would have had to have had your plugs over to the left in the cabinet instead of the right. So just do a little bit of planning first. You'll be glad you did. Last but not least for this cabinet, don't forget to wipe it out. Take that rag and wipe all those little metal burrs out of there and the dust and everything before you load up that top cabinet shelf. Okay? Do a good job.